My father never went to college, so it was really important I go to college. After college, I called him long distance and said, "Now what?" My dad didn't know. When I got a job and turned 25, long distance, I said, "Now what?" My dad didn't know. So he said, "Get married." I'm a 30-year-old boy, and I'm wondering if another woman is really the answer I need. What happens at Fight Club doesn't happen in words. That is a quote from Fight Club, obviously. Dude, this book is legendary. I think it probably is one of the best fictions written specifically for men, right? There's a lot of amazing fictions, but I love this one when it comes to like the topic of masculinity. That quote specifically really resonated with me. So here I am, an 18-year-old boy in 2017, off to university. Just imagine me with a little backpack to go and fulfill my parents' biggest dream. Their biggest dream in the whole world, which is having their kids get a university degree. My parents were raised in a fairly poor family in the village. They stopped education very young, and they started working pretty young as well, like very young. They didn't get a chance to go to college or to university or whatever you want to call it. They've been working pretty much forever, and they wanted better for me and my sister, which is a really beautiful sentiment that was definitely programmed into their brain, because how can they possibly know that university is better, seeing as they never went to it? They've done pretty well for themselves, man. Like I'm living in their house right now. They're not here, they're still in England. So it's a very nice house. You know, my dad drives a nice car. He has enough money to be comfortable, right? I'm not gonna say they're rich, they're not, but they're comfortable, right? And they did all of that without university. The idea that was programmed into their head is you go to uni, you get a good job. And I do think that back in their generation, that was actually the case. I think they actually were right in thinking that way. But nowadays, things are different. The new normal is going to uni, unlike in their generation where it was not.
Jorge, Fernando, Casardo.
Uni was crazy, man. I partied like crazy. And the funny thing is, that should have directly led me into failing university, because I didn't put in the time, effort, and energy that was required to, reasonably consider doing well at uni. But I did do well at uni. I remember that in first year especially, I was turning up to exams still half drunk from the day before. Third year uni, I actually tried because, again, I wanted to fulfill my parents' dream. The point is, I didn't really need to try. It was a very easy degree. I studied business at the University of Nottingham, and let me tell you, business is not a subject you should go study. It is a joke, a complete joke. Everything about that uni experience was a joke. The course was a joke. The teachers that I couldn't understand, like I don't want to sound racist, but like we had like some Asian teachers who I genuinely from the bottom of my heart could not understand, and I wasn't the only one feeling this way. Everyone was like, how is this like a teacher at our uni? We can't understand what they're saying. Their English was really broken, the accent was super strong, and yeah, when you're paying like a good amount of money, you want to understand what you're learning, right? Third year, landed on COVID year. That was when it really proved to me that everything was a joke, because everything was online, but they hadn't built the infrastructure for that yet. We pretty much just had like a presentation online, like a PowerPoint presentation online, which I swear to you was more useless than if we had just Googled something. Honestly, it was a complete joke. We didn't get any sort of reimbursement for it or anything. What about the fact that we had zero hands-on experience when it came to like learning about business? We didn't do anything. It was all theory, which in a real world scenario doesn't help you in the slightest. Like okay, finished university, I want to start a business. Now what? No idea. Because we have no practical experience, zero. What about the debt? The debt associated with it. So obviously, I took out a student loan, as most people do. It's kind of like just the default, just take out a student loan. And now I've got like a ton of debt just on my head. I don't know, man. Was it worth it? What I'm trying to say is this whole like prestige, this pedestal that uni is put on by my parents and by almost everyone is fake. And I don't want to like put you guys off uni, because there is definitely a time and a place for it. I just don't want it to be the default path for most of you. It might not be the best path for you. Let's not even get started about the harmful university culture in England, at least. I know I can only speak from England because that's where I lived and that's where I went to uni. The culture is super toxic. I mean, the drinking culture was crazy. I felt ill from a physical perspective, mental perspective. The amount of like intoxication was just crazy. But since COVID, I feel like it's toxic in a different way, because everyone I hear about going to uni nowadays, it's like completely different experience from like a social perspective. Another one of my good friends, his brother is also studying in Amsterdam, and apparently he's like really concerned about him because all he does is plays video games and he has no friends, and it's, you know, what, you don't want to be isolated in a foreign country with nobody there to grow up with and have fun experiences with. Yeah, there's definitely some questions to have about the university culture too. I studied business, and after I finished my degree, I actually opened a business at the time. It was a wine importing and distributing business. I learned so much more from doing that than the whole 3 years, not even comparable. The business failed, but there were some things that whilst I was doing that business, I really had wished I had learned during my uni time. Because it's like, I'm studying business, why do I not know these things that I had to go out of my way to educate myself when I paid however much money for a degree that was meant to educate me on these things? It was pointless. Actually, all the money I put into that business, even though it failed, was more valuable than all the money I put into my uni degree. I really mean it when I say that I only took 2 things from my university experience. And these 2 things are very valuable to me. I really gained this new level of independence. You know, for the first time, I had to make my own decisions, which at the beginning, I wasn't making the right decisions, but towards the end of uni, I was like a completely different person, which that was truly very valuable. I mean, I think that's what shaped me to the same kind of person I am today. Before that, I don't even recognize that guy anymore. And the second thing is my connections at uni. I have definitely created like a brotherhood of men who I will be friends with, hopefully for my whole life. I met them at uni or through uni, like friends of friends or whatever. That is priceless to me. So from that perspective, I'm very glad that I went to uni. But back to the Fight Club quote. The sentence, what happens at Fight Club doesn't happen in words. I love that, because if you substitute Fight Club for like your purpose, you can't compare going to university, getting a standard job with your purpose. For my parents, it was like the finish line, you know? They're done with me now. Like, obviously that sounds horrible. They're not done with me, but the point is, they were hoping that was gonna set me up for life. It didn't. In fact, it probably delayed me, because I had 3 years of no progress. That's truly how it was. I've got a piece of paper, but what am I going to do with it? If you're thinking about going to uni, these are the questions that you should ask yourself. Do I know what I want to do in life? If the answer is no, then straight away, don't go to uni. What you really need to be doing is opening yourself up to as many experiences as possible. Anything that interests you, you go into it as like an experience, and to see if you could long-term find a path in this interest of yours. That's going to be a lot more beneficial to you than just kind of like wasting a ton of money and a ton of time being lost at uni. You probably won't find yourself. Another option a lot of people take is like, in England we have uni and we have college. College is like if you want to have a specialized job, like for example, I want to be a plumber. You're not going to go to university to be a plumber, you're going to go to a college, and that's honestly a great option. They're actually kind of low-key not that popular to, like, you don't see as many of them nowadays. Most people just go to uni to study some theory. Out of my brothers, one of my best friends, he didn't go to uni, and he's more than 3 years ahead because of compounding. He started working young, he started investing, he started doing all these other things, and the compound effect, it was worth it. He's now probably the most successful out of all of us. If you do know what you want to do in life, does it require a degree? Let me give you an example. Somebody very close to me, she is studying graphic design. Nobody cares about a graphic design degree. What they care about is your portfolio. How good is your work? They'll go and see your past work and hire you based on that. You don't need a degree for something like that. On the other hand, I've got one of my best friends as well. He is studying law, and it's his passion. He loves it. He's not stimulated by the idea of making a ton of money. He's stimulated by the idea of being really good at this. Yeah, that's his purpose. Be law. He loves it. Like, I've never seen anyone love law the same way I see this guy love law, which shows me that he's on the right path. Okay, so you know what you want to do, and it does require a degree. Third question is, does it make you any money? I chose business because I wanted to do business, but I also had a few other ideas in my head, one of which was languages. I love languages, but I couldn't see myself making a good living from languages, like a really good living. So I decided to do languages in my free time, which is what I would recommend. Do something that makes you money. On the side, do something that you're interested in, such as languages. If it's just a passion and it's not really gonna make you any money, still do it, but maybe don't go to uni for it. Last question is, what lifestyle are you after? Because you might be very passionate about something, you might need to go to uni for it, and it might even make you money, but you might hate the lifestyle associated with it. Some jobs are gonna take away from your family time, from your freedom. Yeah, man, it's gonna be up to you to see that work-life balance, to see if it's worth it. If it's your purpose and you love it, then I think it probably will be worth it, but it's worth considering if you even love the lifestyle attached to the job you're searching for. Education is super important, and I think it's one of the most important things, to be honest. I just don't want you guys to fall into the same trap that I did. I don't want you to be herded like a group of sheep that can't think for yourselves. Don't be fooled by job stability, because the only stable job is if you're working for yourself as some sort of entrepreneur. I have one of my good friends as well who has had 3 jobs since uni. He's 27, he's unemployed. He keeps getting fired, especially nowadays where like computers are taking over the jobs, AI. Do some unique thinking. There's so many paths to education. Don't follow a one-size-fits-all. And yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Good luck.